Hi. Okay, 23. The number 23. What multiple of 10 is the number 23 closest to? 20 or 30? What multiple of 10 is 23 closest to? 20 or 30? Well, 23 is just 3 spaces away from 20, but it's 7 spaces away from 30. So 23 is closest to 20. Okay, now I'm going to give you the concept of rounding. Rounding to tens is whenever you take a number and you find the closest multiple of 10 to that number. For example, with 23, we looked at 10 times 2, which is 20, and 10 times 3, which is 30. Those are both multiples of 10. And we saw which number, 20 or 30, 23 is closest to. And 23 is closest to 20. So we rounded 23 to the closest tens, which is 20. Okay, now let's get this concept in your head. Let's try to do another number. 34. Okay, what multiple of 10 is 34 closest to? Okay, well, 10 times 3 is 30, right? That's a multiple of 10. How far away is 34 from 30? It's 4 spaces. And 10 times 4 is 40. So that's a multiple of 10. So 40 is a multiple of 10. How far away is 34 from 40? Well, 34 is 6 spaces away from 40. So which is 34 closest to? 30 or 40? Well, it's 30 because it's only 4 spaces away from 30. So if we were to round 34 to the nearest tens, it would be 30. We'd put 30. That'd be the closest rounding to the nearest tens for 34. Okay, now what about a number like 15? Well, let's find the closest multiples of 10 to 15. You have 10 times 1, which is just 10, and then you have 10 times 2, which is 20. Those are the closest multiples of 10 to 15. Now, 15 is 5 away from 10 and 5 away from 20. So what do we do? Which one do you choose? They're the exact same distance. Well, in this case, we have a rule that says that if it's 5, if it's right in the middle between the two multiples of 10, then we round up to the higher multiple. So in this case, we would round to 20. We'd go to 20. So, in another case, if we were to say, if I were to ask you round to the nearest tens, 45. Round 45 to the nearest tens. Well, we have to find the closest multiples. 10 times 4 is 40. 10 times 5 is 50. Those are the closest multiples of 10. 45 is near to 4. How far away is 45 from 40? 45 is only 5 spaces away from 40. How far is 45 from 50? Well, 45 is 5 spaces away from 50. So then which one do we choose? Well, just like in the rule I stated previously, if it's right in the middle, if it's the same distance, that you choose the higher one. Okay? You choose 50. You round to 50. Okay, now what about 67? If I were to actually round to the nearest 10, 67. Round 67 to the nearest tens. Well, what are the closest multiples of 10 to 67? Well, you have 10 times 60, which is 6. 10 times 6 which is 60. And then you have 10 times 7, which is 70. So 70 and 60 are the closest multiples of 10 to 67. So how far away is 67 from 70? Well, it's only 3 spaces away. And how far away is 67 from 60? Well, it's 7 spaces away. So where would we round to? What is the closest place tens we round to? Well, it would be 70, because it's only 3 spaces away from 70. Okay, so rounding to the nearest tens is rounding to the closest multiple of 10 to that number. Okay? And if it's right in the middle between the two multiples, like we saw with 15 and with 45, I don't remember. We round up. We round to the higher number. Okay, I'm going to give you one more. Round 5 to the nearest tens. Okay? Think through it for a second. How would we round 5 to the nearest tens? Well, you have 10 times 0, which is just 0, and then you have 10 times 1, which is 10. Those are the two closest tens, multiples of 10, to 5. Now, where do we round to? Well, like I said, how far away is 5 from 0? It's 5 spaces. How far away is 5 from 10? It's 5 spaces. So then where do we round to? We would round to 10. Because if it's right in the middle, if the spaces are equal, the distance is equal, we round up to the higher number. So practice this at home, get some numbers, and round to the nearest tens of them, okay? And so you can get better. So yeah. Sounds cool. Ow!